is Diane. I work for the Kelly Brush Foundation, and I myself am a C6 quad. And I started working for the Kelly Brush Foundation this past year. And in April, we started these discussion groups, virtual discussion groups, in collaboration with the United Spinal Association. And we're really just focusing on adaptive sports and recreation, trying to get more collaboration among us. We invite everyone from athletes to program directors to coaches to veterans to novices, everywhere in between. And we meet every other Tuesday at 5:30. And again, the hope is to just provide a space for adaptive sports enthusiasts to engage in lively discussions about various recreational activities and share the knowledge and resources. So we've done each week, we kind of focus on a different sport. But this week we are focusing on grants and funding for those sports. So I think we will just dive right in, and I'll pass it right off. We have a couple Kelly Brush Foundation members here on the call today. To my right, I have Megan and Amy. I'll let them introduce themselves, and we'll kind of just go around with introductions. And please chime in if you have questions, chime in if you have insight to give, if you want to answer those questions. Again, really just looking for some open dialogue and having a great conversation this evening. So pass it off to you, Megan.
Great. Yeah. Hey, everyone. It's so great to see such a huge group on here tonight. It's nice that you guys took your time, and I'm excited for tonight's call. I'm Megan. I focus in more on the active project with the Kelly Brush Foundation. So yeah.
And hi, I'm Amy. I am the program manager at KBF. So I am all things behind the scenes grants. If you ever have a question about any of our grants, I'm the guy you're reaching out to ask those questions to, and I'd love to answer some questions about that. Do you want me to get into it, Diane, or just the intro?
Yeah, maybe could you give us I know our grant cycle is closing soon, so maybe give
Yeah.
a spiel about that.
So we have two main grant programs that we encourage folks to apply to. Our grants are specific for folks with spinal cord injuries, but all folks with any type of spinal cord injury are eligible to apply. Our first grant, and we kind of think of it as a path to being active. So you start that path with going on the active project and learning about adaptive sports, getting those resources and kind of seeing where you want to be. And then our scholarships are where you try those things out. So our scholarships are $500 where you can we'll reimburse travel or pay program fees directly for you to try something out. So you're like, hey, I've really wanted to try mono skiing. It is such a barrier for me to travel to a mountain with an adaptive program and try some out. So we can help give $500 for you to go try that out. Or you want to try something out, you want to try out a grit chair, we can work with grit and work with that $500 for you to try that equipment. So those are some examples of ways that folks do it, just to have that barrier of how to get started and where to get started. That's going to help. Once folks know exactly what they want, so they know, I want a Force 3 hand cycle. I've been working with How I Roll Sports, and I love what the quote that they gave me. I need some funding. That's our active fund grant. So and our scholarships are open enrollment all the time. And you can apply at any point, and you'll have an answer about that within 2 weeks max. Usually it's within a couple days, we'll give you an answer. But that's anytime. Our active fund grant has 2 cycles a year. Our application's about to close on September 18th, and that's our equipment grant. So any type of adaptive sports equipment that will allow and enable someone with a spinal cord injury to be active. So you said, oh, I use that scholarship to go to Triumph and travel there and try out their hand cycles, and I fell in love with the Force 3. I really want to try it. You can submit an application and we can give a grant. Our average grant size is about $3,500 and is towards any adaptive sports equipment. And we have our eligibility on the guidelines of kind of what equipment is eligible versus not. But any questions anyone has, I'm happy to answer. Our contact information is grants, GRANTS, at kellybrushfoundation.org. And I'm happy to send out an info, but you can also just find it on our website. And I secretly am the one that runs that. So if you've ever emailed with the grants I emailed before, it is me behind the anonymous Team KBF signature. But yeah, are there any
I have a
questions?
question about the scholarship.
Yeah, totally. What's up?
So I'm with High Fives, Landon.
Hi,
So
Landon.
how much connection do you have with different programs across the country? Like if I refer someone to the scholarship grant for the 500 to try out equipment, do you guys have lots of relationships where you can set them up? Like if they said, oh, I'm in North Dakota, where can I try a
Yeah.
grit chair?
That's where the active project comes in for sure, of trying to find a local program, or worst case scenario, reach out to that grants email and we'll get you connected. But that active project resource is a really what we hope to be a comprehensive resource that can help folks get connected. So there's a map and you can filter by programs. So you can search, so you can go to the map and say, I want to look at programs. Type in your zip code. I want to look specifically at mountain biking. And then it filters down and zooms in. So meets all the criteria of the places where you can try mountain biking within that region. And then from there, connect with that program, get the information. And then once you have that, connect with or apply for our scholarship. But if you're stuck in any way at any time, like please reach out and we'd love to help you get connected. We informally and formally have great relationships with so many programs across the country. So we're happy to connect you, but we also have the active project to help answer those questions off the bat.
Great. Thank you very much.
Yeah, of course. Any other questions about the grants? I know that I kind of went through it fast, but I'm happy to answer any questions or if anyone has like some points that you think are important in your experience with the grants, feel free to speak up and I'm happy to, co-sign or perhaps provide some clarity on that as well.
What was your email address again, Amy?
Yeah, it's grants, grants, at kellybrushfoundation.org.
Thank you.
Of course.
Yeah. Megan, can you just post that in the chat? Sorry, I'm on my
yeah, of course. I was just gonna do that right now.
And just post those links too. That'd be awesome.
Of course.
Thanks. Landon, do you want to introduce and talk a little bit about the high fives, or before I pass that off, any other questions with Kelly Brush Foundation? All right.
All right. Yeah, I'm Landon. I'm the athlete manager with High Fives Foundation. So me and my coworker Danny are kind of the main two people behind the grant application process. So if you do put in an application through High Fives, it's likely that you will have or will speak to either me or Danny. So we do 3 grant cycles throughout the year. The first 2 are open for individuals with a life-changing injury in outdoor sport to apply for anything that we fund. So we have a list of things that we can fund. And then our third cycle of the year is open for anyone who sustained a life-changing injury through injury to apply for adaptive sports equipment. So those are the 3 we offer throughout the year. There's an application process and a budget process, which I recognize some names on this list. So I may have had to give a bad phone call to a lot of people because often the budget process seems to be forgotten about. So definitely something to keep in mind. But yeah, we provide our average grant size sounds quite similar to Kelly Brush Foundation, around $3,000. We work with Kelly Brush whenever we can. If we can combine 2 grants to get you a full equipment instead of just one, then we're more than happy to. And that's it's a really nice look on our end when we see that someone has applied for Kelly Brush or any other foundation.
We love stacking. If we can combine with High Fives or CAF or anyone that can combine it, like we love everyone's goal is to get equipment. So
I think like a big piece of advice that I would have for anyone applying is like if you can show any kind of initiative, that looks really great on our end. It's one thing to say I would love a bowhead, they cost $21,000 and that's it. But if you can say I've applied here, I have funds available through other avenues, anything like that really shows initiative. It's hard for us to, give someone a $2,000 grant for a $20,000 piece of equipment when I don't know if they have the other $19,000.
Landon? One quick question. If you're injured more than 30 years, are you out of your grant process?
Yes, unfortunately, 25 years is our cutoff for our grants.
Thanks.
That stacking process that you mentioned, is that something that you guys would initiate on your own behind the scenes, or is that a collaboration between the foundations and the applicant?
Yeah, so that will be all on you. You'll have to apply for Kelly Brush or us first, and then let either of us know. We don't communicate, not typically, unless you have already taken the initiative to apply for the other foundations that you'd like to work with.
And we have a question on
Thanks, Landon.
our application is, have you applied to any other grants? And
Yes.
We want, and I think High Fives, you have that as well. So
Yeah.
we asked that question, and Victoria's Victory does as well. And we also, sorry, I keep talking over you, Lyndon. I do love the collaboration. And I want to emphasize that the collaboration is so helpful with these organizations. If folks after they get an award still have an outstanding amount, like we'd love to like point in the other direction too, and just provide the resources.
Hey, Corey, I see your hand up.
Add you. Yeah, I just wanted to answer that question about stacking. I actually did that myself. It's pretty simple. You do it on your own. You'll just talk to the manufacturer and tell them that you've got funds coming in from different places. And what they'll do is whatever the grant covers, they'll write out separate invoices for that amount, and then it'll add up. Because I did that. My fencing chair wasn't fully covered by my Kelly Brush grant, so I was able to get one from NYC Spinal that covered the balance. And I just reached out to the manufacturer, and they just made a separate invoice for the amount.
Thanks, Corey. That's what I ended up doing with my recumbent bike.
Sorry, yes. I think he answered the question that you asked a lot better than I did.
Thank you.
And I want to give Susan from Victoria's Victory Foundation. I think she might have to head out halfway through. So hi, thanks for joining us.
Hi, everyone. I'll jump right to both Amy and Landon's point that stacking we love to do. I reach out to Kelly Brush quite a bit. We look at the application right away. Where Victoria's Victory Foundation differs a little bit is our focus is actually less on athlete and adaptive recreation. We are about quality of life grants. We have 4 cycles a year, and we focus on caregiver hours. We focus on mobility equipment, and that is where adaptive recreation equipment would fall under for us. But that could also be a stander. That could also be a new wheelchair because somebody's already gotten one, but now they're being denied by insurance. So really the range under mobility equipment is quite large. We do home and vehicle modifications, and we also do activity-based training, since so many insurance companies reject those hours because they don't recognize them as traditional PT. You might recognize Michelle over here. Michelle Maslanka is our resource navigator. So in addition to our scholarship program, we also try and assist people with connecting them with either state, federal resources that they can use. We'll help them with how to navigate insurance. And when I say we, I mean Michelle, she's the queen. And any type of appeals, any education she can give on that. And then also we'll try and help direct them to other foundations for the purpose of stacking. Just like you guys said, we have it in our application. We ask, what other funding are you getting? And then if we see someone with a big ask that we know they still have to achieve, we'll give them a timeline saying, you have been granted X amount from Victoria's Victory Foundation. You have 6 months or 8 months, we try and customize it to the person's needs, but we'll give them time to actually try and obtain funding in other ways. We'll earmark and hold that for them and then give them expiration date. We really do try and work with people individually. So if they contact us and they're like, I know I'm going to be getting an answer from this person and it's 6 weeks out from what we gave them as a deadline, we're going to move it. But that is our cycle. We have our fourth cycle for the year opening next week. And that typically our application cycles are open from anywhere for about 4 to 6 weeks. And then it's about a 4-week turnaround for the process of receiving an answer. And we do spinal cord injury, traumatic brain injury, stroke survivors, rare diseases such as TM, ADEM, any type of rare disease that impacts somebody's mobility. We do CP and MS as well. Yes, Ed.
So I was instructed by my last physical therapist to get into a gym and to build strength before continuing to pursue some of my recovery goals. The primary one being able to get up off the ground. I'm a C3, C4 quad, but I am somewhat ambulatory. And so I've been going to a gym and I've engaged a personal trainer, but that's setting me back $100 a week. Is your foundation one that would be appropriate to apply to for the purpose of covering my personal training?
Yes, because what we would do is we would ask for, so you were given a recommendation of why to go to that PT. Yep. So we would simply ask for that documentation so that we had it. Because a lot of times what we'll see also is people that maybe haven't started a program at, say, like a SciFit or a Project Walk or something. They are very excited and they're like, I'm going to go to training 5 days a week for 4 hours a day. And we're like,
I know you're not.
No, you're not. There's not a trainer that's going to approve that. So we typically will work with the trainers to get a personalized letter of recommendation to what your needs are. And then that gets put in with your application. And that's something you would just upload right there.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I have a quick question about that. So what are, like, I know we have our criteria. What are some of your criteria? Like, I'm Canadian, so I know I can't apply at KBF.
What you can't apply for us either. So we are a US-based only foundation, and we do ask for financial documentation, but in terms of, we have no age limits or length of time of injury. Is there anything I'm not thinking of, Michelle?
Thank you for that clarification as well. We are all SCI only United States.
There we go. That's simple.
Cody, you got your hand up. Hey, how are you?
Hey, nice to see you guys. I've started a nonprofit adaptive sports recreation fitness organization in Central Illinois where I'm at, and our first programming is going to be an adaptive fitness program. So I'm working with Equip products, and it's going to be open to anybody with a physical disability, whether that's amputee, spinal cord stroke, MS, visual impairment, what have you. So would we be able to apply for funding then through like Victoria's Victory Foundation to help support the program to bring people into the community in, or is it athlete individual specific grant funding?
So that's a great question. We tend to do individual funding, but we have looked, and in the past, so for example, we have actually supported Northeast Passage. We did a grant for their rugby team at one point. So we will consider, but typically we do it on the individual basis, but it's not to say that we couldn't consider. So feel free to email me directly at director@victoriasvictory.org so we can discuss it a little bit more, because we definitely would be open to what you have for your plan and see if there's a way we can help support.
No.
Yeah, I would, for high fives.
Thank you. We're trying to keep the program either free or very low cost. So if we can find grant funding to help keep the program going and support the the individuals, that'd be awesome. So yeah, I'll reach out to
Yeah.
you. Thank you so much.
Okay. And just so you have the links, Diane, it's victoriasvictory.org/application. And when the application is closed, it will say there's not currently, it will say check back. And then when it's open, there is a click link right there for the online software for anybody to apply.
I think I posted your link in the chat as well. Just so.
Perfect.
Yes.
Yes, I see it. Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
Anyone else have comments for or ideas for Cody for starting his nonprofit and getting funding? All right, I'm going to pass it to Bobby's on my screen here from Triumph. Hey, Bobby.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. How are you?
Good. We have a grant process of open grant that's throughout the whole year for SCI only, United States only. It goes up to $2,000 for equipment, home modification, hand controls therapy, equipment like that, schooling sometimes. Therapy, not as much. We tend to focus more on getting over that next hump once you get done with the hospital. And just because therapy is such an ongoing process and can be for a long time for some, we typically don't use or go for the therapy or that type. We don't pay for rent or anything like that. And we are in Southern California. And, we're definitely when someone's stacking, typically the board does tend to lean forward to approving the grant, especially when we have stacking. And so we could be another avenue. I think through Kelly Brush, we just did the additional 2,000 plus for basketball chairs, 2 basketball chairs, and a hand cycle just recently.
Great partnerships. Any questions right now? All right, let's see. I have Rachel from Adaptive Sports Association. Hey, Rachel. Good to see you.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Can you hear me okay? Okay, great. My name's Rachel. I work for the Adaptive Sports Association here in Durango, Colorado. We're a little bit different from some of the other organizations. We don't offer grant funding for anything, but one of our main missions is to provide recreation opportunities for anyone with a disability. And one of the things that we offer is we don't ever want finances to be a barrier for anyone to participate in the programs that we have. So we offer scholarship assistance of any amount for anybody that asks for it. We don't ask for any application, income, like that. All you have to do is ask for it. We do have a couple of flagship scholarships that we offer in the winter time specifically. We call them our Learn to Ski scholarships. And these Learn to Ski scholarships, we provide 4 days of individual adaptive ski instruction, lift tickets, all the necessary equipment that you need. That's anything from clothing all the way up to the gear that you need. 5 nights of lodging, whether that's in what we call our volunteer host homes, families that live in the area that are a part of our organization, or a hotel, depending on what scholarship you apply for. And then transportation to and from Durango, so whether that's airplane or gas money for driving the vehicles to and from, and most of your meals are also covered. We have 6 weeks during the winter time that we offer these scholarship programs, and all of these can be found on our website, asadurango.com. Most of the scholarships have different requirements that you have to hit. Like some of them, you have to live in the San Diego area or the Madison, Wisconsin area, but there are a few that don't have a whole lot of stipulations in order to apply for it. Preference is usually given to people who've never skied before, but that's
And is that, you said just for Colorado?
It is, yeah. We're based out of Durango, Colorado at the Purgatory.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I just moved to Colorado. What's that called again?
Durango?
Durango? Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. I'll see y'all in the winter.
All right. I love to hear it.
Doug, we got a question.
Yeah, no, I was just going to share our SEI Boston's grant policy, just so people know. We offer durable medical equipment vehicle modification grants up to 5,000 in New England, excluding Connecticut, and we do not offer funds for sporting equipment. We refer a lot of people to Kelly Brush, and they do a fantastic job. So, thought I'd throw that out there.
Thanks, Doug. We also have New York City United Spinal branch here.
Hi. Hi, everyone. Good evening.
Anna. Hi.
How are you? Nice to see you again.
You too.
So, and I'm representing NYC Spinal, the New York chapter of United Spinal. So we have a two-prong grant program. We have individual grant funding, and we also have grant funding for organizations for the person who was asking about that. Our website is nycspinalcord.org. I can put it in the chat in a minute. So in terms of our individual grants, we don't do a lot of adaptive sports equipment, but like Corey was saying, stacking is great. When we see that Kelly Brush funded a good majority of it and we could get it done, we fund the rest of it. A large part of what we do is also referring people to sports programs and other organizations like Kelly Brush and Challenge Athletes Foundation and Wheelchair Sports Federation. We do a lot of referrals. And the other large part of what we do is fund adaptive sports and recreational programming, mostly here in New York City. So we've done stuff like funding adaptive sailing, adaptive riding for equestrian programs. We partnered with the New York City Parks Department to provide adaptive kayaks in different locations here in the city. The largest thing that we funded, I think, is the Life Challenge program at Mount Sinai Hospital. We've been funding that for over 20 years. And I can personally say I am no athlete, but very early on, I think my second year after being injured, I did participate in the Life Challenge program. I went skydiving to start it off. So then after that, I did parasailing, water skiing, um, I can't remember everything, the sailing, surfing. And I can say that just from personal experience, it really opened up my horizons and really did make me feel like, the limits are only the ones that you put on yourself. So aside from, seeking out funding for equipment, I think it's important for people to explore different sports and different activities that you might get into. And so things like Empower, where I'm a Diane, we have provided scholarships, if not partial scholarships, to over 20 people. One of them being Bobby. I just learned that Bobby's first time at Empowers because we funded him, so that was awesome. Yeah, so that's a lot of what we do, and you can find us at nycspinalcord.org.
Great. I also just added your organization in the chat as well.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anyone have any questions?
And Corey, you got funding through the Life Challenge program as well, correct?
Through NYC Spinal.
Yeah, I did. Through NYC Spinal. That's what paid the rest of my fencing chair.
Awesome. Love making that connection. We got Jack Trottier Foundation on here as well. Hey, Jack.
Yeah.
What's going on? Tell us a little bit about your foundation.
Yeah, I can give a little bit of a rundown. Primarily, we're a quality of life grants organization, so we'll do anything from home modifications to vehicle mods to assistive tech to durable medical equipment. Those grants are up to 7,500 and we review them every month. So we try to act pretty quickly. And I would say maybe 80% of our grants come from the Spalding network, or at least, a hospital network that's local to New England. They're open to New England residents, no age limit, no timeline as far as SCI goes. But last year we started our rec program mainly with a big partnership with Shepherd down in Atlanta. So we're starting to do some more activities and outings and experiences up here in like the Metro Boston area, but we are technically that program is nationwide and we've gone all over the place with Shepherd. We're in Virginia a couple weeks ago doing rock climbing, and they go to Atlanta Braves games, Atlanta United games. So we don't give funding necessarily to individuals for adaptive equipment. We have given a few scholarships to like the teen program from Empower and the surfing day. But we are kind of building that program out. So it's not to say we won't in the near future or into next year, but as of right now, we're kind of built on the experience of it all and trying to partner with different organizations, whether it's Empower or like Catalyst Sports was the one in Virginia, and some of the other things when they went out to Colorado to do the camp, or Alabama. So that those partnerships are with Shepherd and connections through Shepherd, but we're building some of those out here in New England and then across the country to do some programming on our own. So it seems like Kelly Brush is like the leader in this space right now for adaptive stuff as far as camps go and things like that. So we're kind of focused on more of the experience just for that program in rec therapy. Not just sports, but also leisure activities. I mean, maybe stuff with like the Impossible Dream or things like that that get people out, build meaningful relationships, get people back to living their life and doing things once they're out of the hospital. So that's kind of our little rundown. But primarily, we're a quality of life grants organization here in New England, with rec therapy kind of at the beginning stages, and we're expanding it all the time.
Super exciting to hear.
Can I ask a question about that?
Yeah.
For the quality of life grants and the durable medical equipment in individual grants, is that for New England residents or is it nationwide?
Yeah, it's for New England residents only right now.
Okay, thank you.
And like I hear the theme of stacking, and that's something that we love to see also. So if they're applying to, United Spinal or other organizations around here, and we see that, that's obviously a huge plus, because sometimes you have a home modification where someone's, rebuilding half their house to accommodate a wheelchair, and it's obviously a major expense. And if we can go up to 7,500, then how do they fund the rest of it? So to see that is pretty awesome. And we get applications occasionally that are looking for, bigger ticket items, and maybe if we can collaborate with other organizations outside of the rec space. But obviously when recreation comes into play, we have the names to kind of refer people to, but we always like to see that as well.
Stop me, anyone at KVF or any of the other foundations, but for high fives, we have a lot of rules that we'll send you that are very black and white. That's so that we can deal with 900 athletes. But communication goes a really long ways. A lot of times we can be flexible, and as long as you let us know, if we have a 3-month deadline to get an invoice in and you're getting close to it and don't have all the money, let us know. We can extend that a bit, but we can't do that unless you let us know. And it's a lot harder to do it if you let us know on the deadline, not 2 weeks before.
Yeah, we're kind of the same way. Like things with our quality of life grants, like I said, a lot of our grants come from people that haven't even been discharged from the hospital yet, especially when you're talking home modifications to get it ready before they even go home. So we look at grants every month. So typically we're able to, and with the connections we have with contractors or vendors for equipment, we can move pretty quickly. But for someone that's, just looking to get something that doesn't have a real timeline, our grants are typically available for up to 1 year from the time that they're approved. And but we do like to act as quickly as possible, especially when there's, a real situation that requires it.
Ditto, Landon, and we have the same 6-month timeline as Victoria's Victory, and they're explaining if like you're working on like applying for another grant or waiting for some extra funding, or like you're there and you're working on it, please just let us know if our 6-month timeline isn't workable. And like Landon said, communication goes a long way, so we're happy to work with folks and be flexible as long as there's like a plan set in place. But we're happy to be flexible with that plan.
We have Rudy from the Challenge Athletes Foundation on the call as well. Hey, Rudy.
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. Thank you for having me on the call. Excited to be talking to so many passionate individuals about disability and adaptive sports. Challenge Athletes Foundation has been around for 30 years now. Our biggest program is our grant distribution program, which will open early October. So coming up here in a few weeks, it will be open for 2 months. So it closes the end of November. We vet the grants, and grants will be awarded for 2025 in March. What a grant looks like can be a few different things. One of our grants is an equipment grant, which can be any piece of equipment for any type of adaptive sports. It could look like travel funds for your next competition, or funds for adaptive lessons for any type of sport. So, any sport you want to get into, we want to support. And so, yeah, it kind of looks a little different for everybody. We have a few different regions around the country as well. So if you're in San Diego or Northern California or Boise or the Northeast, New Jersey, New York area, we do have some clinics and activations happening. So that's all on our website. And if anyone has any questions, feel free to email us, or you can email me, rudy@challengedathletes.org.
Awesome. Thanks.
Thank you.
CAF is another org that we love stacking with. We love CAF.
Same to you.
From coast to coast. I saw Jackie, was your hand up?
Yes, I was hearing so many people talk about programs and like doing things with programs. So I just wanted to make sure I introduced myself before too many people got off the call.
Please, yeah.
So I'm Jackie Mueller, and I'm with Angle Tech Cycle Different, which is a recumbent cycling shop in Colorado Springs. And I'm also a recreation therapist. So you guys have been talking lots about adaptive programming in the relation to that. And so I just wanted to say that, yes, like we work a lot with a lot of these foundations. And so if there's a foundation on here that has people applying for cycling, and you guys are looking for like good quotes and things, like you can always reach out to me. We also, the Durango adaptive programs on here. We just worked with them as a program to get funding for cycling, to have equipment for their program. So if you guys are starting up programs, I heard a few of you guys, and you're wanting to know like what would be a good way to go to have just a few cycles to do something like that, you can also reach out. And so, yeah, just on that side of, it's fun to hear everybody get so many grants. We also love when we see that you guys are stacking them on the stacking side. It's good to see you guys all working together.
Thanks, Jackie. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And hey, Maddie, your hand's up too. And please, everyone else, we kind of have finished off with most grants, I believe. So opening up the floor to just have this open discussion here. Hey, Maddie.
Hi, I just wanted to introduce myself. My name is Maddie. I work for RGK Wheelchairs. So we're actually a manufacturer. We're not an adaptive sports program or anything like that. So we provide daily use chairs and then a bunch of different sports chairs. Our primary ones are like basketball, tennis, we do pickleball, rugby, and then kind of fleshing off from that football, lacrosse, archery, kind of anything and everything. We have a dance chair as well. So I just wanted to touch on two things. If you have someone who is interested in an RGK chair specifically, all of our chairs are made to measure. So we would want to meet with that rider and go through all of their measurements. We get a lot of questions saying, hey, I need a quote for KBF or CAF or anything like that. What's the cost? And that's really kind of up in the air depending on what functions and features they have. So that's the first thing I wanted to say. The second thing is we also love stacking, so we can't, provide money to our riders. But if someone is pursuing these grants, stacking them, whatever it is, there is a little bit of wiggle room on our end and what we can do if they're going to pay like the remainder of what's left over out of pocket. So we have a little bit of flexibility there. But just wanted to let people know. And if anyone has any questions about RGK specific products, please feel free to let me know.
Can you drop your email in the chat? Because I would
Yes.
love to talk to you.
Yes.
And actually, that reminds me, I had a couple questions from people that weren't able to make it. Do you, back for either, Amy specifically, because she did say, I think it said on Kelly Brush, about supplying bows. Does Kelly Brush or do other foundations is like getting an archery bow, something?
Let me read it exactly from the guidelines.
Okay.
We will not consider guns or bows, but we will cover the adaptive device that may be used to operate.
Okay.
And so that has to do with, yeah, that's kind of like a lot of our equipment where we won't pay for we won't pay for a kayak, but we'll help you get all the adaptations needed on. And Landon's nodding his head, the same kind of thing. So not like the bow itself, but the adaptation to make the bow accessible. And so that kind of formula applies across the board.
If you can kind of think of it in our ways, we're not going to provide a vehicle, but we'll get you hand controls.
Makes sense. Okay.
Another question. Have any of y'all I saw these they're like Bluetooth hand controls go in your hand. Have any of y'all seen that or funded that? Because I was looking into that, but I haven't been able to see how much they cost. You know what I'm talking about? Have y'all seen those ever? No?
Wait, describe it a little bit more.
Yeah, so they're hand controls. You can get them either wired in or Bluetooth. It replaces kind of where the accelerator plugs in, and you wear it on your hand, kind of like a bracelet, but around your palm. And there's like a thumb for the accelerator.
Sorry, in your vehicle or for your chair?
No, for your car. For your car. I'll find it right now. I just recently started driving. I got those little Amazon hand controls. They're fun, but they're not that great. Hold on.
I haven't seen those personally, but it certainly is within the realm of what we could support.
Sounds like a VR, like.
So, yeah, my background was in adaptive transportation. It's where I just kind of started my career with it. And I believe what you're talking about is there's a company, I want to say they're like Australian or something, or New Zealand.
Yep.
It's where they come out of.
Yeah, they're in New Zealand.
And I mean, anytime you're talking Bluetooth acceleration, I mean, you're pretty expensive, but
I mean, they got the wired in ones too.
I just got a truck and it's a Bluetooth, but it's nothing to do with your hand or anything. It looks just like a regular hand control, except it doesn't actually use the pedals the same way.
Yeah, you can pretty much all vehicles now.
So one more time, my headphones went out. You said one more time.
Sorry, did you hear me repeat?
I was saying, could you repeat that? Yeah.
Oh,
Because my
I was
headphones
just
went out
saying
for a
that
second.
I have the Bluetooth hand controls, but they're not the ones in your hand. They just look like regular hand controls, but they are
Oh, I
Bluetooth.
see. I see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, Corey, I'm amazed with how fast you just went from driving to in the store. That was like no time in between.
Oh, yeah. I'll be in and out that car. I realize if I throw myself into things and out of things, it's faster.
The zooming while driving did stress me out though.
Are you sure you're not walking?
Well, no, I'm not. I don't like doing that. But yeah, not driving's fun though. It took me 5 years to get around to it.
Oh, hey, Denitra, we just answered your question about the bows. How are you? I'm glad you're able to get in. You're on mute.
Sorry, I'm late. I'm actually at Aces and Arrows right now, shooting arrows.
You go, girl.
What? Right? What did I miss?
Yeah, the consensus was that most will supply the adaptations. They'll purchase the adaptations will qualify for grants, but not the bow itself. And that's kind of how we got onto the car conversation. It's like then they wouldn't supply the car, but they would supply the hand controls.
Yeah, okay. Even if I'm already classified as a para archer.
Correct. Yeah. I'm Amy. I manage the grants at KBF. We would not cover the bow itself, but the accessibility adaptations required to make a bow accessible are what are, because our grant criteria in High Fives kind of co-sign this is it must be recreation equipment specifically designed for people with disabilities. And since the bow itself isn't specifically designed for folks with disabilities, it's the adaptations that you add to it. That's where the line has to be drawn there for KBF.
Okay, because I literally have no adaptations I need to add to it. Like archery is already adaptive. Like it's a adaptive sport. Like long as you can use your hands, you can use the bow. The only part that makes it para for me is that I'm in the wheelchair because I'm paralyzed.
Gotcha. Yeah, KBF wouldn't cover that because the equipment itself isn't specifically designed for someone with a disability.
Anyone else on this call that could help Denitra out? Or would have ideas where she could look?
I'm going to share on the chat right now. We have a supporting organization list that I share with people when High Fives can't support them. I'll share that on the chat right now. And that's what I refer people to anyone when we can't support them.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks, Landon.
Thanks, Landon.
I have a question for Denisha. Can she give resources on the high fashion that she wears to go and shoot? Because absolutely fabulous to go shoot. Amazing. We need those resources. We need
this hoodie that everybody likes that just covers like my arms. It's a Puma hoodie. So I like it because it still shows off my outfit. But when I get cold, I can just throw it on.
It's amazing. And the shoes are always matching.
Yeah, look, they do. Look. Yeah! Oh man, you already know.
To the Olympics. I'm rooting for you just for the fashion. Bring the fashion to the Paralympics.
Absolutely. I can't wait. I can't wait to be there.
I'm a cheerleader.
You know, I'm trying to bring home that gold medal though. That's gonna be the fashion for me.
It's gonna match your glasses. See? Never loses. Never misses this one. There. See what I did there?
I love you, girl.
We have a couple other familiar faces on the call. Anyone else wanted to introduce yourself or pose any questions or insights?
Hi, this is Steve Harrison. Hi, Diane. Hi,
Hey,
Denitra.
Steve.
Hi,
I know.
Steve.
How are you? Good to see you. I have
Good.
a question about, I'm an applicant. I would be like a would-be applicant for grants. Are there any income limits or criteria? How do you guys review or do you review like tax returns, or how does that process come into play?
At KBF, we do ask for financial information. So whether it's a tax return or your SSI verification, there's no limit and there's no minimum or maximum income that we're looking for. It just helps us paint a meaningful picture. So looking kind of at we paint the full picture of you as an applicant and thinking about what is going to be a meaningful grant and what amount is going to be meaningful. So our grant committee looks at it kind of as a general picture, and we really want to look at you as an individual. And that's why we ask that information.
Yeah, high fives is the same. We don't actually ask for any verification. It's just a question on our application with 4 different options, starting with less than 55 or 15,000 and ending with more than 65,000 a year. So that's a question we ask. It's honestly one of the last things we look at when deciding a grant. Maybe if it came down to 2 people with this exact same application, we would give a little bit more, depending if one person was at the top and one was at the bottom. But it's a very minor part of the application for us.
Bobby, do you know if that's the same for Triumph Foundation for income limit?
No.
What is your income limit?
We haven't ever come across it where we said, whoa. I mean, I think there's been once that the family was supporting them on a bunch of other things, and we knew the family was pretty well off. But typically it doesn't come up. We do ask that they do submit their 1099 or tax return or proof of Social Security.
Thank you. Is Challenge Athletes that way too? Rudy, are you still here? I think so.
Yes, it is. You need to submit your financials. I think the household cannot make more than 120,000 a year.
Mm-hmm. And Michelle, you're shaking your head. Yes, same thing.
There's no limit, but like KBF, we just like to see the whole picture so that we give an appropriate amount.
Okay. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, we do the same thing, and we do ask if they have any large GoFundMe campaigns. We ask what the balance of that is as well to get the full picture.
Speaking of GoFundMe, another great resource to stack.
Yep, I was just about to say that. I was going to make the point of how much stacking does. It sounds like every other foundation has also mentioned it. So I think there's no amount that can be beat on. But when we're going through applications, we might be giving everyone $2,500 for a certain thing. But if one of the applications can come and say, I only need $3,000 and I'm all the way there, in that case, you potentially can get more than the average just by applying for other places.
Yeah, Dave, what's up?
Hi, guys. Hey, Diane. Hey, Landon. I'm a high fives athlete, and thanks for you guys' support. Everyone here, I just want to remind everybody how important these programs are. For me, I was paralyzed mountain biking, and so for the first year, I kind of sat in a house thinking my life was over, and then my first adaptive program was Vermont Adaptive, it changed my life. It just changed my whole outlook. And this support system is so important for people, especially if you're injured like I was, and I think most of the people here So I just want to thank High Fives for what they're doing, and thanks everyone from Jack Trottier to, Spalding, everybody, Vermont Adaptive, Green Mountain, everybody that helps to get people out there. I'm in Vermont right now. I just went kayaking for 3 hours, and I still come back and I see my wheelchair on this dock, and I go, oh shit, I'm in a wheelchair. Like, I forget. And that is so important for me, because I'm not a wheelchair is not who I am. That's just a part of me and how I get around. That is not how I identify myself. And I'm still, like, 12 years later, I go, oh my God, I'm in a fucking wheelchair. Like, and that's the great thing about these programs. You get out, you get out of your chair and get out into nature, and you have, like, whoa, yeah, I'm in a wheelchair, but you know what? I had an amazing fucking day. So, that's what's so important about what you guys are doing. And it's mental health. It's like, it could be the difference between somebody wanting to, take their lives or whatever, or go, you know what? Life does go on. It's just different now. So that's what I want to say to everybody. But I also just want to quickly do a shout out for Kelly Brush, because they supported Sarah Adams, our silver medalist.
Oh,
they supported most of her chair, and she kicked some serious ass at the Olympics. And Kelly Brush did about 7,000 of that 9,000 or whatever. And Sarah just went all out. She crushed it. So that's how important these programs are. And there's never enough. And I love this stacking idea. I wish I would have known about that. But I just want to thank everybody for what they do. And I'm just happy to be here.
Thank you for that, Dave. That was so beautifully said. Huge contribution. You're so right.
And I know that we're at 6:30. Is it okay if I just quickly answer Cody's question that he asked in the chat?
Yeah, please.
My number one tip is, and I'm sorry if this comes across passive aggressive, read the guidelines on all of the applications that you're applying to. Chances are we have outlined exactly what we're looking for. You don't even have to stress about how to find your answers, because we're telling you exactly what information we want to hear, telling you the format we want to hear it in. And for us, we want to know you. We want to know who you are as a person, what makes you tick, what makes you smile. We want to be able to read your application, and from your application, know who you are and know your heart. And that's when our grant committee is going to be able to make that really feel like you filled out a great application. Your literacy doesn't matter, your sentence structure doesn't matter, but us being able to know who you are and what paints a picture, and that you're providing the information we outlined in the guidelines, then you did a successful job.
Yeah, 100% echo what Amy said. It doesn't have to be perfect, but if we can see you've taken some time, that's a good look. If it's like, okay, this guy just took 2 minutes to fill out this whole application, that's a little bit challenging to do. The other thing is, it almost sounds like everyone from every foundation on this call has an injury. So we want to help you. You just got to communicate with us. And, if you have a question, let us know before the deadline. And we're more than happy to help out, but we can't help you. The deadlines are a very black and white rule. And also, we've rewritten our guidelines so many times to try and make them as simple as possible. So also try reading before going into panic mode.
Yeah, I had my hand up to say the same thing. Ours, like, I believe Kelly Brush and I challenge athletes, and I'm not sure about you, Landon, with yours, but it's nice to see that you can go step by step as well. Ours does not really go step by step. And so when people are applying, I just say be as detailed oriented as possible. Turn in everything that they're asking, 2 quotes, a form of this letter that you are to say, everything. And that's where we always say no, almost right away when it's lacking anything in the application. And I too am a challenge athletes, and changed my life. I was a cyclist beforehand and got hurt 35 years ago. And then hand cycling back then, when you have to transfer, was not ideal for me and strength wise. And thank God for e-bikes now, and with the Striker that I can clamp it onto my front end. I did 55 miles yesterday at the, I live in Southern California and the beach, and now I want to go up to the next level and get a better one than I had and looking to stack. And one question I had about, can you reapply like 2 years later for Kelly Brush?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I would reach out to you, Landon, but I've been hurt 35 years. So
yeah, unfortunately. And then I can add to high fives. You can apply for 2 out of our 3 grants every year, and that resets every year.
Bobby, I just applied for a striker and through thank you, Kelly Brush and Victoria's Victory, and I'm so excited to get it.
It will change your life.
Yeah, and I'm just so pumped. I went on a roll today and I'm like, next time I go outside, maybe I'll be hand cycling.
I just wanted to announce really quick, I posted all the information that we talked about kind of in all the chats today. So it's an overwhelming list, but it's everything that we shared today too. So if anyone wants to copy that, and then they can save it and look it up for later.
Thanks, Megan.
You're welcome.
Another thing I saw in the chat was somebody was asking about if there was funding available to get the rest of their bowhead. On top of GoFundMe and all these other foundations, there is money available for people with disabilities. Your local grocery stores, there is places, it's worth putting together a little cover letter, what you're looking for, and dropping it off. Lots of businesses have money allocated, and you just got to look for it.
Great idea. Ed, I saw your hand up and down.
Yeah, I was just going to ladle on to what everyone was saying about Corey's question. And I have applied, I don't know, half a dozen different foundations. I've received grants from SCI Boston and Jack Trottier, KBF, High Fives, and the Bish Strong Foundation. And in all of those grants, I thought it was important to, and High Fives actually is really, really big on expressing a goal that you have and how receipt of the grant to purchase your equipment will help you fulfill that goal and what it means to you personally to achieve that goal. And I think that's a big part of stressing how important it is to you and how it will affect your life going forward with an eye on the future, which as all of us here with spinal cord injuries know, there are times when you wrestle with the future and what your future holds. And so having that eye on the future and setting goals that you're trying to achieve down the road, I think is a big part of applying for a grant.
Great reminder. Yes, thank you. Any other last comments? I hope this got everyone excited and got some ideas flowing and partnerships, and everyone's gonna be eating dinner while writing a grant tonight. Oh, we got one more question from Indiana. Hey, Indiana.
Hi. I have a question that I should definitely know after all of these years of Zoom pandemic meetings, but is there a way to copy the links in the chat whenever you've joined by phone? Or is there like somebody that we may be able to email to get some of the links that were copied from the chat?
Yeah. I can get it for you, yeah.
Yeah, and if you also want to drop your email, I'm happy to send the links to you as well. Amazing. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Of course. Yeah, no, phones can be tricky sometimes.
Hi, Megan.
Hey, so good to see everybody on
Yeah,
here.
you helped me go rock climbing.
Yeah, I know. I'm happy to hear that
Freaking awesome.
Cool.
All right. Well, in 2 weeks, we will have a cycling active project live. So tune in for that. And this will be posted on our YouTube channel, the recording for you guys to catch later or share with others. But thanks for joining in. And everyone have a great night.
Is anybody allowed to join your bi-weekly meetings?
Yep. And everyone's welcome. Yeah.
Okay, great.
Thank you all.
Thank you, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.